Oh, hi Sarah. Thanks for giving us the time today to meet and to catch up with you like this. It's great to see you, and it'll be great to find out a bit more about how you're doing. Sarah, for those who don't know you, who maybe might watch this, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, you're out in South Africa working with Morning Star. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how long you've been out there for, what led you out there in the first place, and the work of Morning Star, what is it?
Oh, okay. Well, hello everyone. I've been out in South Africa for 10 years now, and so I work for an organisation called Morning Star, and we look after children who are affected or infected with HIV and AIDS, and we care for them and their families. So we have two daycare centres. One in Welkom, it's about 3 hours south of Johannesburg, and then another where we have 100 children coming in each day, and then we have another centre on a township about 20 minutes away, and about 40 children come in each day. So we provide all-round care for the children, their health. Nutrition is really, really important, and education and lots of love, and we play a lot with them. So I was a primary school teacher in England, and it's a very long story, but anyway, I came out here for a year initially, and I was adamant it was only going to be a year, but after that year it just turned into 2 years, and well, I'm still here. So I absolutely love what I do. And I'm here to oversee the education of the older children. We have children from babies up to like 10 years old. So we have a little school, and we have a reception class, and then a grade 1-2 class, and a grade 3 class, and a special class. So I teach the grade 3 children, and I also have input into the other classes, teaching the younger children, and also supporting the teachers, because the children really primarily learn in their own language, which is Sotho, which I don't speak. So, but they do have to learn English as well. So yeah, that's basically what I do.
Okay, so you're still using that education background that you started with in the UK, out in South Africa.
So yeah,
Morning Star.
It's very different.
What will be maybe some of the main differences?
Well, we can do what we like. It's not prescribed by the government. So you can really teach the children what you passionately believe in, and also we have complete license to tell them about the Lord Jesus, to teach them from the Word of God, and to try and to nurture in them a love for God too. So yeah,
that freedom must be nice, rather than the restraints of the curriculum in England.
So yes, yeah, and it's very simplified here. The children don't have to learn loads of subjects. It's just basically their own language, English, maths, and life skills.
Okay. Great.
And we can do lots of practical things with them: cooking, gardening, arts, crafts. Well, we can't at the moment because of COVID-19, but we could. So. And that was quite important, because many of the children have severe learning difficulties.
Okay.
And that is partly because of the way the HIV virus affected their brains when they were little. So a lot of children have learning difficulties, and they come to us when they're older because they cannot cope in their government schools.
Okay.
But the idea is that they do eventually go back into their own community schools. We also support maybe 500 other children who've been through Morning Star and who are growing up and attending the township schools.
Okay. So you've shared sort of the work of Morning Star is with kids who have suffering with HIV, what are some of the biggest challenges, before we get on to sort of COVID and the effects there, what are some of the biggest challenges in general, even before COVID, to the work of Morning Star?
I think it's ensuring the well-being of the children. Most of them live in poverty. There's many social problems. Just providing for the children who do have learning difficulties, how best to do that, and how best to support the families. And a large part of the work, which I'm not so involved with, is supporting the teenagers, because many of them are orphans, and they are just experiencing big difficulties trying to come to terms with their HIV status. And so we have Pastor Revival, who works with us, who does a lot of work with the teenagers. But after COVID-19, that has had to be curtailed, because we can't have the support meetings for them at the moment. Although I did hear that the Bible studies for them might be starting up again soon. So those are once a month on a Saturday.
Right. Okay, so what's lockdown life during this COVID pandemic been for you guys, like in South Africa? Maybe for the general South African population, but then also for you as Morning Star, what's had to stop?
Okay, well, we were behind Europe in terms of number of cases, but they called a lockdown very, very fast, and it was incredibly strict. So on March the 26th, I think it was, all schools closed, and for 5 weeks you were not allowed out of your house, even for a walk. So you had to have a permit, and if you went to get food, you'd have to show the police or soldiers the receipt. And there was curfew between 8 and 5 o'clock, I think. It was very strict.
Yeah.
And then after the 5 weeks, it moved down or up a level, I don't know, to level 3. So you're allowed out for a walk, and we were able to reopen Morning Star about 2 weeks ago, for some children. So there's all sorts of very, very strict rules and regulations. Everybody has to wear a mask when you're out. You get your temperature taken in every shop. You're sanitized constantly, and we have to adhere to those rules at Morning Star. So we've been able to have back 24 children each day. So it's different children. So over the course of a week, I think 50 something children do attend, because we're only allowed 8 children on each vehicle that picks them up because of social distancing. But it is amazing we got that permit, because in South Africa, no children that age have been allowed to start school.
Right. And
the reason was it was a health inspection, not an education inspection. So that's why we were given the permit. Okay. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
So now I think it's relaxing more than with England. We can go to church with all the rules and regulations, but we can still go. Hairdressers are opening. And I think children, they are trying to phase children back in. But the numbers of COVID-19 infections are escalating now, right, because the country's opened up. But the other big impact, of course, is the economy. And there's been horrendous hardship and suffering with people going hungry. And so Morning Star's focus changed during the lockdown or just after the 5 weeks to distributing food parcels. So all the families of the children were getting food parcels, and I think we've given out about 1,600 food parcels in the last 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So those have also been given out to other needy people but I mean there is a massive need out there. People are going hungry, so that is a focus at the moment. And then with all those food parcels, there's always a gospel message in it that was written by Pastor Revival. Okay. And he's had some really good conversations with opportunities to witness and good conversations with people about the gospel. So that's a focus at the moment as well.
Okay. So do you think now those food parcels will carry on for a period of time yet? Or as schools go back to normal, will that focus?
Yes, as finances allow. So we had donations, especially for food parcels. So, but when it runs out, it runs out. Okay. But our children, the children of Morning Star, will get the food. Will get a food parcel if they're sponsored. So.
Okay. Good stuff. So I guess then that leads on to, through those challenges and the changing circumstances of the moment, how can we be praying for yourself as well as the work of Morning Star over these weeks and months, I guess, ahead?
Yeah, there's a verse at the end of Psalm 90 that says, it's verse 17 of Psalm 90. It says, "Let the favour of the Lord our God be upon us, and establish the work of our hands upon us." Yes, establish the work of our hands. And it's really that God is the one who is establishing what we are doing, so that what we are doing is glorifying to Him. And wisdom and discernment. There's a lot of people who will try and pull the wool over your eyes and will come demanding things. So it's how to, because it's a very practical ministry, how also to share the gospel with that. Pastor Revival especially, I think, needs prayer. His role is quite key.
Yeah.
I mean, these are very uncertain times, and so also just prayer for protection and safety. It's a very, very volatile society, and people are desperate. So violence can erupt at any moment. Thankfully, here things have been really quite calm and peaceful. Although there has been a big taxi dispute with some protesting and shooting, but I think it's calmed down. So yeah, just safety really, and protection, and that we can stay open and make the most of the time that we have got with the children. Yeah.
I like the way you just say that fairly calmly. There's been a dispute and shootings and things, as if that's just sort of that's mild and
but that's on the township.
Mild and moderate for you, but for most people here in the UK, we'd be sort of very worried and concerned if shootings are happening. But
yeah, no, the crime rate has suddenly gone up very high since the lockdown was eased off. So. And wisdom for the South African government. I mean, the president, I think he's a really good man. And he used to follow the Lord when he was a young man. I don't know what went wrong, or what changed, but he definitely gets a lot of things right, and he's not corrupt like the other leaders that we've had. And he always finishes his speeches by "May God protect South Africa and its people," or something like that. So he does still acknowledge God and maybe believe. Well, I think he does believe. So, yeah.
What are your longer term plans, Sarah? Are you heading back to the UK at all this summer? Are you allowed to?
Well, the thing is, I'm not allowed to. The borders are all closed. So hopefully Christmas. There's no flights out of here. So hopefully Christmas.
Had you planned before COVID to return to the UK, or were you?
Yes, I had. Yeah,
normally you come back for July, don't you?
So I plan to come back for my mum's 80th birthday celebration, but it
Okay.
didn't happen.
So that'll be hard for you not being able to be there for those kind of events.
But I'm all right. Yeah, no, I think I'm in the right place at the moment. So.
That's the thing. God
I just know that. Yeah, and just like to say thank you to everybody who prays for us and supports us, because we wouldn't be able to do what we do without that.
Great. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Sarah. Thank you for that time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hear that news, and we'll be praying for you.
Thank you very much.